Dear colleagues, hello and welcome. Today is not only Tuesday, March the 30th, but it's also our 30th episode of the Life with the Author. So this is a nice coincidence, and I'm really happy that for this special celebration event, I have a special guest, Rui Falacho from Portugal, a good friend that I know for some years now, and we will talk about European Academy of Digital Dentistry, but not only about the academy, but about digital dentistry in general. This is something that unites the two of us. We found out before when we prepared this live interview, we both can be considered nerds. So we want the latest technology, but we also want to know how it works. We want to know how to apply this technology into our life. So I'm really happy to have you here with me, Rui. And let's jump into the discussion. And the first question I always ask is, dear Rui, tell us a little bit more about you.
Thank you very much. First of all, of course, I want to thank you for allowing me to be here. It's a great pleasure and a great honor. We've been able to talk about this before. I've been following your work since forever, and it's a big honor to me to be able not only to normally talk to you. I remember the first time we met, then to be able to call you a friend, and now to be able to be interviewed in this fantastic show that I've followed since the beginning, and that has done great things for dentistry as well as your other platforms. Yes, we both are nerds for technology, although I have to admit that you know much more and are much more than I am. We've been talking about a lot of stuff that I've been learning from you. It's fantastic. And I will, as I said before, I will take a little bit of this interview to also ask you a few questions because I think it's very important that everybody knows. Regarding your question, as you said, my name is Rui Falacho. I'm Portuguese. I was born in Portugal and I still live in Portugal. I've been a dentist for the last 12 years, 13 years. And I've always been looking for new technologies, new ways to improve my practice through technology, and especially through knowledge. About me, what can I say? I'm a professor in Coimbra's University, one of the oldest universities in Europe. It's in the center of Portugal. I cooperate with a lot of other universities, European-wide and worldwide. And I still am. I am the president of the Portuguese Society for Digital Dentistry, and more recently of the European Academy of Digital Dentistry. As you know, and we've talked a lot, I've been trying for the last years, for the last 3 to 5 years, I've been trying to create a global network of people that can talk with each other, that can share experiences. I've helped create a little bit all over the world some academies for digital dentistry, from Europe to South America, North America, Asia. I've been helping my friends and the people that I know to replicate these associations a little bit all over the world, with the ultimate goal of all of us getting together and discussing, improving our knowledge, and knowing even more, a little bit more each time, knowing a little bit more about digital dentistry and dentistry in general.
Oh, that's cool. So, so I consider yourself a young colleague if you're only working for 12 years in the dental profession. But it seems that you have already a large experience in digital technologies. So let me jump to the next question. Why did you decide, or what was your vision or intention to create another academy for digital dentistry? Whenever somebody approached me in the last 20 years, after the first International Society of Computerized Dentistry was founded in 1996, I think, so 25 years ago, many academies showed up with different goals, different visions. But what was your idea? Why did you think that we need another digital dental academy? So can you tell me a little bit more about this?
Of course. It's easy. This came up. I'll tell you how this came up. I became the president of the Portuguese Society, and I started trying, as I already said, to make connections with people all over the world. So we started creating these national associations with the goal, as I said, to learn a little bit more from each other, and also to transmit a little bit more to the people, to the dentists and dental technicians. And by doing that, we started meeting more, having more discussions. And one of the discussions was if it would be the time to create something international that would get all of us together, especially it was in a discussion between people in Europe, that would bring us together more officially with an international viewpoint. And it started making sense because our views on digital dentistry were and are a little bit, or almost a lot, different from the other academies that we know. We don't focus just in some parts of more specific parts of dentistry. We look at dentistry as a global global digital work situation. So we decided that it was time to create an international academy that would differentiate itself, not only by having, as you know, the members we do have, which are some of the best and most well-known dentists in the world on digital dentistry, but also that would look at digital dentistry a little bit differently than what we had so far.
Okay, so but tell me a little bit more. So this was not in the details I would expect your answer.
Because I'm expecting you to ask me, what is the difference that we see in digital dentistry?
All right. Basically, this was my question.
Exactly.
So I want to know more because you told me, yeah, you are different from the others. So I suppose that you explored the other academies, that you looked at them.
I'm a member of some of them, yeah.
And then, so what did you learn, and what have you changed, and where do you see the European Academy of Digital Dentistry being different from the others?
The first thing is our view, as I was saying, about digital dentistry. We sometimes see that a little bit all over the world, and that's by the dentists and dental technicians' options, but also because of industry. We see a polarization of digital dentistry as surgery, prosthodontics, CAD/CAM dentistry. And our vision is that digital dentistry is not only CAD/CAM dentistry, and most of our colleagues and friends in other academies, as well as some of the academies that we also helped to create, sometimes the focus is too much on CAD/CAM and too little on other things. We believe that digital dentistry goes from the diagnostics to the execution of a treatment plan, to the treatment plan, to the follow-up. And I always say, just to give an example, and so that people really understand what I mean, I always say that when I ask dentists in my lectures, which dental specialty or field do you think is more digital? And normally I get prosthodontics or surgery. And then I answer by saying, no, in my opinion, the most digital dentist is the endodontist, because endodontists, they use what I call a full digital workflow. They do x-rays, 2D or 3D. They do mechanical instrumentation, which is with the aid of technology. They use apex finders. They use obturation with the aid of technology. And of course, now the guided endodontics, the guided surgery. And so they do the full workflow in digital. And that is one of the points we are a little bit different. We see all technologies that help the dentist or the dental technician in his or her daily work being digital dentistry. So when we talk to people, we'll always like to say that we are sure that everybody now is a digital dentist, although that person may not use CAD/CAM, may not use it for surgery or for prosthodontics. We are sure that people photograph, people use exams such as x-rays, cone beams, etc. So everybody is a digital dentistry. People use something that I really like, although I don't talk a lot about it. I prefer the scientific topics on dentistry, but one of the things I really like is clinical management. Everybody has a little bit of digital dentistry inside of him or herself. So that was one of the points that set us apart. The other thing is that we decided, we have, as you know, you're the president of the scientific committee, we have very strict bylaws. So the way that our bylaws were designed are made so that this is something very democratic, that we all are together for the same goal, but also that we are not one of those academies or societies looking to get a lot of members, to get a lot of income from the members. We are absolutely not money driven. We have no desire to make money whatsoever. The bylaws prevent any of us, me, you, etc., any of us from getting any personal advantages in terms of economics. And one of the things that also sets us apart is that we do not look to get many members. In fact, our bylaws do not allow us to get many members. There is a very strict selection process, as you know, to become a member. It's around 2 years of selection process. So we are not looking for that. We are looking to have a group of people that can produce knowledge, that can specially review knowledge, and can make, we want to have a lot of followers, of course, so that we can make that knowledge, that digested knowledge, get to the people in order for them to know what they have to, what they should use, what is better for their practice, because not everybody needs the same thing. I can tell you in a couple of minutes a couple of stories that show exactly that. No, not everybody needs the same technology, and we want to produce knowledge, review knowledge, produce guidelines, and of course, we are now beginning also the step of producing research to help our colleagues in dentistry and dental technology to better evaluate what's coming from the industry to their practice.
How did you decide to take the word digital and not computerized? Again, going back in time, 1996, and I was there when the International Society of Computerized Dentistry was founded, and it was a group of CEREC dentists. And at that time, the goal was to not include CAD/CAM dentistry in the word. So computerized, in 1996, computerized was everything that in a dental office or in the dental lab has a computer is a digital device. So basically, but this is then a philosophic or a philosophic discussion about the wording. I think EADD or EASD.
It would be. I think it would be interesting. It would be possible. We didn't even consider it. I'm not sure why, but it would be.
Because in the 90s, digital was. I had in 1994. I had a lecture at the FDF for Professor Scherer at that time, talking about the CEREC system, and then I came up with the word digital dentistry. And digital has two meanings. Digital is numbers, and digital is fingers.
Of course.
So the numbers, they stay for 0, 1 for the binary system, which is the base of the computer, of software. And the digits, the fingers, is what we are doing. We are creative dentists. We still are hand workers. So this is for me was the word digital implements what a dentist is. A dentist is a really digital person. And this is for me the deep meaning of digital dentistry. Basically, all dentists in the world are digital dentists. Some are more digital and others are more digital.
Yes.
So
I understand. I will ask for your permission to use that every time I speak, because that's fantastic. And in fact, when I lecture, normally I show some cases where digital, in terms of computerized dentistry, didn't quite help the patients, because sometimes we as dentists, we forget that there are two things much more important than technology, which are our brains and our fingers, our digits. And I always show some cases where I put a hand and I said, yes, I'm a digital dentist. So I used my fingers to solve this when technology without a brain, when technology didn't do that good for that patient.
Yeah, this is the concept that Jorge André Cardoso has developed, and I'm really happy to be part of his initiative of brain and hands.
Oh,
So this is then the next step of digital dentistry, is brain and hands. So this is explaining more in detail what digital dentistry is all about, is brain and hands. And the brain can be our brain or any brain that is inside a box.
Of course,
So,
always monitored by our brain.
Absolutely. So let's jump. Let's leave this philosophic discussion and jump into the next, from my point of view, important question. Why is digital dentistry not more used in dental offices around the globe? So I have some ideas, but I want to ask you
My
first.
opinion. Okay.
What you think, why this is in 2021. I know that we have max 5% of dentists using an intraoral scanners. Digital technologies are much more diffused in labs, but in dental offices we have really almost zero. 5% for me is nothing. 5% is nothing. And if you consider the amount of publication, lectures, conferences, academies, so you are representing a very, very small number of dentists worldwide. So can you give me your explanation on this question?
In fact, if we talk about CAD/CAM dentistry, I couldn't agree more. There are not as many colleagues using CAD/CAM dentistry as we would believe. Nowadays, when we are looking at lectures and, of course, scientific publications, but even more lectures, every lecture has CAD/CAM. And we would expect that to be, of course, reflected in our daily practice in normal dentists. However, for example, I tend not to, in my lectures, not to show only cases with CAD/CAM because, as you said, I'm aware that only a small percentage, that changes, of course, from country to country, but only a small percentage of us has intraoral scanners or CAD/CAM technologies in office. Why is that? And before answering why is that, I would also like to say, but in another point of view, all of us dentists, as you said, being digital, not only because of our hands, but because we use technology. It might not be CAD/CAM, but we use other technologies in our office, such as, I already referred to them, photography, x-rays, digital planning, digital ways of managing our offices. So in a way, I believe that all of us worldwide, or most of us worldwide, are using digital technologies. But getting back to the question, because I understand perfectly that it is about CAD/CAM, of course that I believe it's because of two reasons. The first reason, and the easiest reason to talk about, is economics. For some countries and for some colleagues, it's still a little bit expensive to have a whole array and a whole set of technology related to CAD/CAM, intraoral scanners, printers, milling machines. I understand that in terms of costs, for some countries and some realities, it is still a little bit expensive. The other thing that I'm much more interested in is the educational reasons. I believe that in dentistry and also in every single aspect of life, changing mentalities and ways of working or of doing things, it's what's more difficult. And sometimes I see that it's not only about money, but it's mainly about being so used to doing something in one way that it's hard to, first, try to get knowledge on how to do it in a different way, and second, understanding that you need to do it in a different way to be more efficient, to be better in what you do, and also to serve a little bit better in our patients. I always give some examples that for me are interesting in terms of understanding what technology is, because I think that most colleagues also don't understand exactly how CAD/CAM or digital dentistry would help them or not. I always remember one of my colleagues that here in a very close friend to me, he doesn't have economical problems in terms of getting a scanner or a milling machine or a printer. And one day he came to me and asked, Rui, can you help me, because I want to buy an intraoral scanner, a print, and a printer. And I said, okay, fantastic. Of course I can help you. But what do you want to do with them? What are them for? What are they for? And he said that he wanted to use them because, in his own words, which of course I don't relate to, and you'll understand that, but in his own words, he said that I almost only do rehabilitation cases, and I pay, in my opinion, in his opinion, he said that he pays too much to the lab to do walks-ups. So he wanted to do the walks-ups himself. So he would do intraoral scanning just for that. He would do the digital walks-up and then print the model to do mock-ups. And I listened to that and I said, okay, so I think that before answering, you should come with me and let's open the software that I used back then. It's a commercial software. Let's use that to do exactly what you say. So I sat with him and I was doing a wax-up of I think 8 or 10 teeth. And I started working. He was by my side, and 5 minutes into it, he asked me, so what are you doing? And I just answered, I'm doing the wax-up. And he said, yeah, but I thought that we would only click a button, do the scanning, click a button, and it would automatically define the best teeth for the person and print them. I don't want this. I don't have time for this, and I don't want to pay a dental technician to do it or a colleague to do it. So for him, the barrier that he would find in technology was that if he acquired that equipment, it wouldn't meet his needs because he didn't have knowledge on what the reality was, what the equipment could do for him. Of course, that the equipment could do a lot more than that, but specifically for what he intended, what he wanted, that was not the ideal solution. And that is one of the things that we are trying now, and we are going to have a closed meeting, as you know, for the Academy, that we are trying to make people understand and to reach as much people as possible through connecting with the local associations. That's why we are extending our branches to local countries, to each country, because we want to make clear to people of how it works, why it should work like that, and what should they get for their own needs. So answering to your question, I also believe that education is still, and wanting to change is still a main obstacle for acquiring digital dentistry or for acquiring CAD/CAM technologies.
And I think you highlighted 2 points: the price, the investment. So I also believe that talking about CAD/CAM dentistry as the biggest part of digital dentistry, or the most important part in the whole workflow in a dental office, who could take over a lot of work. So for example, in my office, CAD/CAM dentistry is 85% of my income.
Of course.
So I could not live without having these machines. In other offices, it's almost zero, depending on what you're doing. But besides the cost of the equipment, the learning curve, today I think it's much easier to get knowledge about how to use the technology. Although I'm missing, especially with the young dentists, they don't know how a tooth looks like. And also the young lab technicians using, and you made the good statement. So your colleague wanted to buy the machine. I scan the teeth, I push a button, and I get, voila, I get everything out of this machine. And it's not that way. I think you need to learn how to work with the machine. And I always compare CAD/CAM dentistry with Formula One. You have a driver license. I have a driver license. But both of us, we could never drive a Formula One car.
Exactly.
We can sit in the car and we would absolutely look like the most stupid people in the world, not being able to get this car running, and forget about driving it. In the first round, you would destroy the car and everything would break apart. So if you invest in technology, you always, and this was also a statement from your side, we have to invest in education, and education for the young dentists. And this is what, for example, Pascal Magna is doing. He makes his student still draw teeth. Yeah. So the basic concepts that we learned when we were students: do your own wax up, do your own thing. And especially in Europe, a lot of these hand trainings were sacrificed to get more scientific lectures. So the young dentists, they can tell you the how a bonding system works, but they cannot use it.
Professor,
and this is the part also for digital technology. And then the third point and the most important point: unless dentists are delegating their work to assistants, and I'm really shocked how many of our colleagues worldwide delegate dental work to their assistants, charging the dental fee for that work. And this is something that happens all over the world. So the dentist preps the tooth, and then the dental assistant comes into the room, takes the impression, does the temporary, takes the shade, fills out the lab form, and does almost the whole work of the dentist. And we see that also in orthodontics and everywhere. And as long as this is accepted, they will never invest in high price equipment, because the cost of a dental assistant will ever be lower than the cost of a CAD/CAM machine. So if you push the button, I make calculations. So the production of one restoration is around 150 euros. And if you calculate how much work you can be made from dental assistants for 150 euros, in many countries, they can work a whole day or 2 days. So then you start thinking, should I really invest in this technology when I have my assistants doing the whole job? So basically what I see is digital technology should be more affordable. The price of CAD/CAM systems especially should drop down. I would, as a company, prefer to have more clients than trying to be Rolls-Royce or Ferrari and sell only a limited number to so-called high-end clients. I don't know. What do you think about these 2 points?
Each time I hear that, because I've already heard it before, I get shocked, because of course that is illegal, and I don't know how it is possible for someone to do it. I only get shocked. Regarding the prices of the equipment, I have a little bit of an insight that I'm not able to tell you which company I'm talking about, because I shouldn't. But there is a very, very big company in digital dentistry that talked to me about their 5 to 10 year project, or what they want to do in the future. And we are also talking to some of the companies in our closed meeting to see how the next 10 years will be in terms of technology. And it's very interesting, because their goal is to stop selling scanners, intraoral scanners, and start giving them to people for software contracts and for subscriptions for the work they do, which can ease up the transition for digital and can make people really do an effort to start using the technology once they get them, because it makes people pay for what they do and start doing more, so that they have the scanner for free. It's not for free, but without an initial investment. That is interesting. Regarding education, I'm going to say a couple of things that I shouldn't, especially as the president of the EADD, but everybody who knows me knows that I always say that, which is two things. The first one is I always tell my students, I give some courses for wax up, manual, normal wax up, and I always tell my students that, or the doctors, the colleagues that I teach, that for me, in my opinion, being able to wax up, not digitally, but normally in hand fashion, is still, in my opinion, the best way of becoming a differentiated dentist. Because it not only allows us to train our hands, because that's very important and people understand that very easily, but for me, it allows me to teach or to work on our brains. It allows us to understand and to see shape. Something that, in my opinion, and this is the thing I shouldn't say, but in my opinion, digital wax-ups, digital morphology doesn't allow us to understand the morphology in the same way. So I believe that, now talking about dental technicians, which is the second thing I shouldn't say, I tend to see nowadays a lot of dental work done by dental technicians digitally that in terms of quality could be better. Of course, that dental technology and digital dentistry in dental technology aims at allowing everybody to have a pretty high standard of work, because we know that in the reality of the world, there are some very, very gifted or very good dental technicians, and then there are dental technicians who, in terms of handwork, are not as high. So digital dentistry allows us to make the curve a little less steep. However, what I really think is that dental technicians should first learn how to work with their hands, how to be dental technicians in the classical way, and then make the transition to digital. Of course, that the transition for digital will allow their work to grow in terms of quality much faster, but I think that only focusing on that might not be the way. And that is a very personal opinion. I'm not quoting anything from the academy. That is a very, very personal opinion. I think that we should first train in the normal sense, in the handwork, and then do the digital transition.
So this is something that a friend of mine who studied with me, Rino Burkhardt from Switzerland, maybe you know him,
yes.
a very good periodontologist, and he was telling, or he's constantly telling people, if you go every day to your office and you do 5 composite restorations a day, you do 2 implants a day, you do 1 endo a day, and you do it every day, you don't become a better dentist. So even if you then have like the routine, the daily routine, you will not raise your level. So yes. it's like going by bike to your work. You drive every morning 5 miles with your bike, and you go in the evening, you go home. This does not mean that you can go and run the Tour de France. If you want to go to the Tour de France, then you need extra training. And this was something when he told us in a lecture some years ago, it opened my eyes for something that was absolutely logical, that as a dentist, we need to train ourselves. But you can do it in your office by trying things, by trying to do something with 1 hand or with 2 hands. If you find the time, do something that is not your usual procedure, and try to become a better dentist. So what's your recommendation? So this is something before we go to the last point about goals and visions. This is a question that I ask people like you, and I know you're also an educator. What's your advice for young dentists who want to start with digital dentistry?
The first thing I would say is exactly, you mentioned that example. I didn't know it, but in my lectures, I normally give a different example. I talk about experience. And of course, that experience is very important. But experience in doing always the same mistakes is not a good thing. And what I normally say is I give the example, you talked about Formula One. I always talk about it, and I say that if experience would make you, only by repeating things would make you a good dentist, then all taxi drivers from London would be better than Schumacher, would be Formula One pilots, because they have more experience, probably more hours driving than a Formula One race driver. So it's not only about experience, is, as you said, and I absolutely agree, is learning and, of course, practicing the things you learn, but learning to do different things. And one of the things that you talked about, and I was smiling because I don't speak about that very often. My students from the university, they know that, but not many others, I always trained a lot. And I tend to work, I don't work as good with both hands. I work better with my right hand, but I don't work that bad with the left hand. Why? Because I've always been very bad with my hands, doing sculpting and stuff. And I trained a lot. I trained a lot to be a dentist. And I decided one day, I saw that my left hand would help me if I knew how to use it. So I decided to, in a preclinic way, in a lab, to start doing things with my left hand so that I could effectively, in those situations that left hand really helps me, effectively use it. And nowadays, when my students look at me and I'm working, I do things with the left hand, with the right hand, they say, "Oh, you work with both hands. Are you ambidextrous?" And I said, "No, I'm not, but I practice to do these things with my left hand." So that is very interesting, the example you gave, because I can reflect myself in it. So the thing I would advise people to do is work, is learn new things, make an effort. I don't believe in, I believe in talent. There are people who are more talented than others, but I believe that, and I always say that to my students, not in many occasions, talented people don't go as far as hardworking people. A hardworking, talented person, that's fantastic. That's not as common. But someone who is very hardworking, who tries new things, who tries to get knowledge, who tries to improve the procedures that he does or that he or she does, that person will be successful. And I always say that if I thought that talented people would be the only good dentists, I wouldn't be an educator. I wouldn't be a professor in the university, and I wouldn't be lecturing or giving hands-on courses all over the world, because I would enter a room, look at one person who is talented, and forget the others. So as I don't believe in that, I think that everybody can reach the same level if they work enough, if they practice and they learn enough. So my advice for young dentists is work. Please do as much effort as you can to improve. And when you think, and one of the things I want to say that I shouldn't say also is, don't start only by thinking about digital dentistry as a means of making your life easier, of not having to train as much, or of making procedures easier. Digital dentistry is not that. Digital dentistry is something to help you once you already know what you're doing. It's something to help you improve your procedures. But I always say that digital dentistry, especially CAD/CAM dentistry, will make a bad dentist even worse, because it will bring up all the problems in that dentist. But it will make a good dentist be much, much better. Can I tell you a little story?
Yes, sure.
There is a company in Brazil. Before the pandemic, I used to go 5-6 times a year to give courses in Brazil. And there is a company which is the company that sells more intraoral scanners in Brazil. I remember that in one congress, in one day, they sold 81 scanners from a specific brand. And one day they contacted me, and they contacted me to give a course. And I said, yeah, but a course about what? Because I don't do branding stuff. I don't sell out at all. So they said, oh, we don't want you to talk about product. We want you to talk about preparations, dental preparations. And I said, okay, that's fantastic. And once I was there giving the course, they explained that they had to create a whole department, a help department, a help desk, just for people who buy the scanners and then call saying that the scanners don't work. Because when they didn't use a scanner, everything came from the lab perfectly, they could work, and now they cannot fit the restorations, everything is bad. So they blamed the scanners. But in fact, it was not the scanners, it was the preparation. They were not preparing teeth as well as they should, and the scanners would bring up all those errors, and the lab wouldn't correct those errors as they normally do. So they told me that they were very happy that if I could explain a little bit better on how to prepare teeth for indirect restorations, because the main loss of money that they had in their month was with that department. So this shows that that technology most of the times is not to blame for our mistakes, and of course that if we don't learn the basic stuff, we cannot expect technology to correct that. So for young dentists, work, study, and then use technology just as a means of helping you, not a means of replacing your brain and your hands.
Perfect statement. So let's jump to the last question of today. What are your goals, or not only your goals, the goals of the European Academy of Digital Dentistry, and what are the visions? You strived a few points, but where do you see the academy, let's say, in 5 years?
Okay. I think I shouldn't answer this alone because you're the president of the scientific committee. You should help me with that. But we've talked a lot about that. And one of the things that I never told you, but I will now, is I think that in 10 years, we will stop being called the European Academy of Digital Dentistry. We will be the European Academy of Dentistry, because all dentistry will be digital. But now a little bit more seriously, I already talked about the main topics. We are now focusing on a couple of things. Some of the things, as you know, I'm not allowed to say publicly yet because we are cooking them among our scientific group, but the others I can. We are focusing on, as I said, creating branches in several countries. What we want, we are represented in a couple of dozens of countries. And that will be announced very soon. What we want is to, we don't want to have the academy in the countries, but we want to make connections to help country associations to do their work. So we don't want to monopolize things. We don't want to be represented in every country. No, we want to help people in each country, to have groups of people in each country that we can give substrate for them to improve digital dentistry in their country. So if anybody is listening who has an interest in becoming associated with us through that way, it's fantastic. To do that, of course, as I normally say, it's very cool to be in an international academy, but only that doesn't mean anything, and that's not what we want. We want to help people in each country. How do we want to do it? We are if we can say closed group, not closed, but not as are not open to anybody who wants to register, because we want to maintain the standards in scientific production and publication in our academy. So we want to potentiate among our members the production of knowledge and the review of knowledge. So in very soon, as you already know, your main part of it, we've been for the last 1 year and a couple of months, we've been negotiating some stuff for having regular publications, accredited publications, serious and scientific publications of the academy that can review some knowledge and to give some guidelines. That is also one of our main topics that we want to do. In our General Assembly, we also talked about, and we are trying to implement that now, talked about the need of continuous education. Continuous education will be the main focus for some time for our academy. We will do it online, but not only online. Now, of course, we have to do it online. We have no other choice. But we've been talking with universities to create inter-university masters in digital dentistry, cooperation between universities all over the world, and also to have a continuous educational program, a serious continuous education program, not only online, but also focused in each country, to help each country develop its own continuous education program in digital dentistry. And I again say that we are not focusing only on CAD/CAM dentistry. If you go to our website, you can see the kinds of accreditations that we have. Oh, and you have the website prepared. That's fantastic. And we want continuous education on endodontics, restorative dentistry, surgery, periodontics. I mean, in a couple of things. You
So
are with the website. Yes, with the
I'm
website,
just because you mentioned the website, so I was browsing the website. Looks very cool, with some statements, with some information about the closed meetings. And so if anybody wants to get more information, it's eaddentistry.org.
Yeah.
And you're also on I see you're also on Instagram, EADD.
Although not as successfully as you are.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm working harder on
I
my
know
Instagram.
you do a very hard job,
because a lot of people are asking, why do you have so many followers? And I say, I'm working hard every day. This is really, it's fun on one side, but it's hard work to do a website, to do a YouTube channel, to do an Instagram account on a what I consider professional level. I'm not posting when I go to eat pizza or drinking red wine with friends. So this is something different. I'm trying to use social media and these tools to get professional connections, to create a professional network. And this is a message to all out there who think, yeah, it's easy to create a large follower group. Maybe if you're a young, good looking girl, that's different. But we are professionals, and we are in a niche, and it's let's say more difficult to being successful in that field of education and information transfer.
And
so
let me tell you one thing. I'm sure that everybody who's watching follows you on Instagram, but it's not because I'm talking to you, because whoever knows me knows that I say this a lot. I am very critical about social media. I think that social media most of the time is not a big helper, but I always say that if people want to follow social media accounts that really make a difference and really teach something, really make a difference for our clinical practice, your account is, I don't want to say the only one, but one of the few that really transmits knowledge. I can perfectly understand the amount of work you put in it, because every publication adds something for the clinical practice. So I want to thank you very much, because I follow it. I am addicted to photography, as you know, and I learned so much, not only about photography, but about a lot of things. So thank you very much for all the work you do and you put in this endeavor.
Oh, this makes me red.
Blush.
So.
No, it's true. It's true.
No, but thank you very much for this positive feedback, and I really appreciate to hear that from you, Rui. So let's sum up and close this interview. I'm sure we could go on for hours, talk to each other. Maybe we repeat this interview in a few months' time, when you can give us more hints, more details on what's going on with the academy. So we will stay tuned for sure. And from my side, a big thank you to Rui for taking your time. For all people out there who watched live, thank you. I know that a lot of people will watch later, so you can watch it on YouTube, on Facebook. And what I started a test today, I will stream this interview tomorrow also live on Instagram. So it's my idea of flipping your phone, and then you can watch the live interview on your phone. And I will check what time tomorrow I have most of my followers online, and then I will start my live interview and show the recording of what we have discussed tonight. So thank you, Rui. Thank you to all out there. Wishing everybody, this weekend is Easter weekend, whether you celebrate it or not. I know that not everybody's celebrating Easter this weekend, but it's a few days off. And take your time with your families, stay safe and stay healthy. And Rui, the last word is yours.
Fantastic, because I really want to thank you. I want to thank you for this opportunity, as I did. It's a big honor to be here with you, talking in this huge platform that you created so successfully. And I hope that people can listen to this and to all your interviews, but in this one, that people get interested in the European Academy of Digital Dentistry, what we are doing, what we want to give to people. And it would be fantastic if they follow us in the sense of following our work so that we can reach everybody. And of course, it's not my job to do it, but I'm so excited that I have to do it. Please stay tuned, because the next interview will be about a very interesting topic with a very interesting speaker. I will be here tuned to listen. I think it's a very important topic. So I think you will.
Yeah, we can tease people a little bit. I will talk to Pascal Magne, who was my first guest in my first live interview, and I asked him to join me for an interesting and I think hot topic about dentistry and social media, but from a point of view of a really experienced educator. So Pascal Magne is not only a great dentist, but he's also a great educator. And I think this will be exciting. I'm really looking forward to this discussion next Tuesday. And thanks, Rui, for mentioning and giving us
I'm anxious.
for giving us this small teaser. So stay tuned, stay safe, stay healthy, take care, and see you soon. Thank you, Rui.
Thank you very much.